Hello, everyone. It's Phil here from Newcastle Digital Marketing. Just going through some inbound client questions. So imagine you've just rang us, you've sent me an email, you've filled in a form, whatever you've done. These are the questions that I like to ask to get a feel for the business and how we can probably best move forward from a digital marketing perspective. What's probably going to give us the highest ROI. So I'll just run through these questions and see how we go. So number one, pretty standard. What do you hope to gain by this digital marketing campaign? Look, for some people it's branding. For some people it's they've got a radio ad running and they just want to make sure that everyone who's driven to their website is remarketed or retargeted to. Some people just want Google ads. Some people just want to concentrate on the Google Map Pack or the Snack Pack. Those top three in the Google Maps section. So each to their own. Some people have got money to burn. Some people, if you're spending $1,000 a month, it's their family's living on the edge of insanity. So have a really good think about what you hope to gain by this digital marketing campaign, because we really need that question answered. Will there be other people working on this campaign as well? So generally speaking, we won't work inside, for example, if we're running Google Ads for you, if you've got another Google Ads manager inside a campaign, we're not interested. It's too difficult, There's a lot of changes and a lot of subtleties and things that, we've learned over the years that are, frankly, proprietary and also can be messed up really easily. So will there be other people working on this campaign? It's no huge issue if we're just doing your Google ads and your Google Map Pack, and you've got someone else doing your Facebook ads or your social stuff. But there needs to be a separation. Otherwise, we can't really control our work and our output. What has been working for you in the past? What a great question. What do you do well? What have you tried that's worked well? And the next one, what hasn't been working for you in the past? What have you tried that hasn't worked well? I know at one point in my life, for one of the businesses that I own, we blew $8,000 on one of those ads, the shopper docket ads on the back of the receipts that you get at Woolies or Coles, and I couldn't track one call from it. It was just insane. So anyway, I blew that $8,000. That was many, many years ago when shopper dockets were used a lot, and we were in a very similar industry. And for all intents and purposes, I think the campaign should have worked, but when we tracked it down to the call, it was just terrible. So shopper docket's no good for me in that particular business. Do you know your return on ad spend, your ROAS? So it's like a return on investment, it's like an ROI, but it's specifically around your return on ad spend from each channel, i.e. so maybe you spend $3,000 a month on radio, or $3,000 a month on Google ads, or $3,000 a month on SEO, and you know that you received $30,000 in revenue from that channel. Do you know, hand on your heart, are you tracking your ROAS, your return on ad spend? Do you use call tracking software and form tracking software? And if so, which ones? So, we've used most. I know what works and what doesn't, so please let us know what call tracking software and form tracking software you're using. Question 7, do you know how big the market is you are in? It's a very loaded question, and most people can't answer it, but it's something to think about. Do you know how big the market you are is actually, when looking at it from a digital perspective? And do you know your share of the market that you hold? Two incredibly important questions. Certainly, when we're looking at a business to see whether it's a good fit, we're looking at how big is the market, what's your share, what are you doing well, what aren't you doing well, what's your ROAS. All these things are incredibly important for a digital marketing plan. If you have been experiencing growth, has your business been growing, or has the whole market been growing? Think about that for a while, because it actually is quite a different answer. So if you have been experiencing growth, has your business been growing, or has the whole market been growing? Which companies are your top competitors? You probably should be able to bang those out pretty quick for us. What's your focus? What do you think are your biggest growth opportunities in the next, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years? What's your focus? Where's the money? What's your biggest growth opportunity? Do you know your cost per call or form filling from each channel? So if you're doing advertising in a lot of different ways, do you know what it costs to drive one phone call from radio, from print, from SEO, from Google Ads? What's each phone call cost you? And then also, same conversation, what does each form fill in from those channels cost you? These are things you need to know. Do you know your conversion rate on leads from each channel? So for every 10 calls you get from channel number one that you're advertising in, do you really convert 50% or do you only convert 25%? Is there one channel that converts more than another channel? Is there one channel that converts less than channel B, but it has a higher margin? So the return, the ROAS on that particular channel, even though the conversion's lower, is actually bigger than the channel to the right. These are all questions that we prefer to have answered. Do you know the average dollar sale from each channel? That sort of feeds back into the return on ad spend from each channel. It's really important to know. Like, are you doing a lot of $300 high volume, low margin sales, or are you doing a lot of 15 grand reasonable margin but very low volume sales? Are there any particular keywords or outcomes your company is fussy about? Been doing this for a long time. Everyone's got their thing. There are some people out there who just need to be number one for this keyword no matter what it costs. So, and it's a deal breaker for them, and I would explain to them that it's not sensible. There's a whole different bunch of ways to make sure that their ROI, you're still getting the leads that you need, etc., with your budget. But some people just have a particular keyword or outcome that they're very fussy about. So we'd love to hear what that is if you've got one. And is there anything else you think we should know? So is there anything going on in the business, in the industry, around you in the future that you see could possibly be relevant to the work that we're about to perform for you? So that's that. That's Newcastle Digital Marketing's client questions. It's a good bunch of questions to answer, even if you're not using us. These are questions that every digital marketing agency should be asking you. And if they're not, I would think that they're not as focused as they should be on your return on ad spend. All right, cheers.